neighbor, how are you today? All right, that's a bad imitation, but what's good here is Fred. I knew him, I saw him at QED all the time, and his neighborhood is my neighborhood, and he really didn't just preach it, he lived it. Can't we all be nicer?
Well, for me, Mr. Rogers is all about the theme song. Right off the bat, he gets you. I was just listening to the song just to remind myself of the lyrics, and April, our EP, her head was bobbing. It gives you that, right? It gives you that positive vibe, and it just tells you to have a great day, embrace life, embrace your best friends. It's an awesome message, and it's a song, so it's even better. I mean, you could sing it in the car. I'd sing it for you right now. I don't have a voice.
I think I get more of Mr. Rogers as an adult and a parent than I did as a kid. I see the impact that Daniel Tiger's neighborhood plays on my son. On the back of every book is a picture of Fred Rogers, and I always ask my son, "Who's that?" He looks at me and goes, "Daddy, that's Mr. Rogers."
Well, I remember going home and watching Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on TV, and it was so inspiring, his message of kindness and how welcoming he was. And it's something that I hope to pass along to my own children in the future.
So in this day and age, I was thinking, what would Mr. Rogers think about social media and the comments that people make on social media? I mean, this man was the perfect embodiment of love and light and happiness and wanting us to be kind to another. And I think he would tell all of us, next time you go to type something on social media, type something nice. Type something kind. How much better is it for someone to read a comment that makes their day than brings them down? Remember that.
So one of the things I learned from watching Mr. Rogers, at least that I can remember being a little kid, was how you can make something out of nothing. I remember Mr. Rogers would walk into the kitchen or open a cabinet and just grab something like, a paper towel dispenser or holder and take the tube from inside and create something. And now that I have little kids, I can do these little arts and crafts things at home. I also often ask myself, what would Mr. Rogers do with what we have right here, instead of having to go out to the store and buy products? But they also teach you how to do something from start to finish.
I have a story about Mr. Rogers. My husband actually grew up really in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and one time when his sister Heather was little, she fell in Mellon Park and Mr. Rogers was there. She was crying, and he went to try to help her and said, "Little girl, let me help you up." And she said, "Get away from me, Mr. Batty." And we always laugh about that because he's the least Mr. Batty of anyone you could imagine. He was such a great guy, and I feel fortunate that I got to meet him while I worked in Pittsburgh.
So I didn't grow up here, but I grew up watching Mr. Rogers and kind of learning from him. And my mother always said, treat other people the way you want to be treated. And Mr. Rogers has a very similar quote. He says, to love someone is to strive to accept them the way they are right here, right now. If we all could do that, it'd be a much better place.